Jy luister na Isak Du Plessis op Nuuspod.
Mthunzi, ja, ek het jy is nou besig gewees die afgelope week en so. Ek is dankbaar jy maak vir ons tyd, maar dit is 'n groot saak om waaroor gepraat moet word. Dis nie een wat sommer net onder die tafel ingevee kan word nie. What's happening now? Everyone is saying they want to take you to court. Fikile Mbalula, in fact, laid a charge against you. Thulas Nxesi says he's going to take you to the cleaners. And I just read a letter on Politics Web. Enoch Godongwana says that he puts you on notice to withdraw your claims against him. In the absence of, he will institute legal proceedings against you. What's your reaction on that?
You know, Isak, in life, we must all do what we have to do. I've done what my conscience said I should do, is to share with fellow South Africans that the public money that I applied for, and for which I got a contract signed, very valid, followed the process for over 4.5 years, is one that these people want to take a share of. I mean, already they take their share through their salaries. They take their share through the other benefits that they get by being working for the state. I personally find it unacceptable that they would want to take more money than that. So any money from the public boss that they want to take over and above that, and I'm told this is sort of the, as they would call it, most in Latin, as a modus operandi. There's a modus operandi, you know, to ask for 10%. They are called the 10% people. I say people then must do what they have to do. If they want to take me to court, I saw the big drama by Mbalula, you know, followed by big cameras and the press. I have seen his letter. He likes most the drama, Mbalula. He always has to act a little bit. And then I've seen a letter from him, I think. I've seen a letter from Godongwana. I think I've seen a letter from Nzimande as well, because, you know,
yes, he also said that he's not going to let it lie.
Yeah. I've also seen a letter from him, but I haven't responded to any of them. I've been busy. I must just tell you what has been very amazing, Isak. You know, when I did this, I was asked this morning on an interview that I did. The lady said to me, now that you've started an anti-corruption fund, because over the weekend I decided I'm going to have an anti-corruption fund, because I am most dealing with people who are using state resources. I have been paying and paying and paying for the whole year that they've been sending letters to me using their state attorneys. I now need to beef up my security. So I decided, let me open up this fund so that people can help me, you know, with my legal fees, my security and all of that. And then the lady asked me, so do I intend to have this anti-corruption activity going forward? And, you know, I had never thought of it before, because when I did this, I was doing it for me. I wasn't doing it for anybody else, right? But I decided this morning at that interview that actually this is something I'm going to continue doing, no matter what happens, because, you know, I've got my contract that I'm waiting to be implemented, but I'll continue doing it, Isak, because when you look only in the last 5 days, net 5 days, my Twitter has now 8,500 more followers than it did last week, Monday. Right? And all of it is people telling me their stories, is people telling me they're inspired, is people asking me to do more. On my LinkedIn is going wild. People are sending me letters. People are thanking me for doing what they cannot do or what they have not been able to do. People are asking me to mentor them. People are saying it's enough. People are sharing their stories with me of their businesses and their dreams that have gone down the drain because of this government that was supposed to free us all. This is a government that was supposed to free all of us. It was supposed to be our government for everybody in the post-94. But actually, it hasn't been. it hasn't been. So that's me.
Mthunzi, just taking you back to the deal and where the wheels started coming off, and Thulas Nxesi decided to pull the plug. Critics already labeled it, the deal itself, as a get-rich-quick scheme, and that the money that was spent already wasn't really spent in areas that was really necessary. Just take us through that deal, and why fingers shouldn't be pointing at you regarding the deal.
Okay. Dankie vir die geleentheid om 'n bietjie te explain. But first of all, there's no money that's been spent on me yet. I think let's be clear. I haven't received 1 cent from nobody. Okay. The only money that has been used on this is my money. So for 4.5 years, if I were to count 4 years up to December when the contract was signed, I had already spent over 17.5 million of my cash. From December till now, I've been having a burn rate of about 300 to 400,000 a month. You can do the calculation for the last 10 months. And that's because I've been dealing with Thulas Nxesi. He's been using state attorneys. He's been appointing advocates. He's been appointing all kinds of people. Me, I have needed to do it by myself, via my lawyers and pay my advisors and so on. So let's get that clear first. The second thing is this. I don't know what a get-rich-quick scheme is, Isaac. It's difficult for me to say because I've always been a businessman. I've built my businesses. In the past, one of the businesses I built is a business called Talk IT, which I built in 27 countries. Okay, so when I bought it with my partners, it was a company in trouble. Not only did we fix it with me as the CEO and the chairman of that company and the majority shareholder of that company, but we were the best high technical training solutions provider in Africa and the largest, okay? Where we are partnered with Cisco, we're partnered with Microsoft, we introduced cloud. There was no cloud computing when we introduced this Talk IT. And quite frankly, we won every award there was to win. I made lots of money. I've been involved in other companies where I've made lots of money. So get-rich-quick scheme is not my thing. I'm an entrepreneur, but I've always also been in organized business. I led all the employers in the world in Switzerland. I don't know if you know, maybe some trivia for your African subscribers, is that since 1919 and 1919, the ILO was born. When the International Labour Organization was born, there's only one man other than me who was involved with the ILO and the United Nations in South Africa. I don't know if you know who that man was. That man was Jan Smuts. He's the only man that was there to sign both agreements of the ILO and the United Nations in history. There's nobody like that other than that man, okay? The second person to get involved with the ILO and the UN at the level that I got in was me. No one had ever, there was no African who had ever been the leader of all the employers in the world, over 150 business organizations in the IOE. So when you talk about BUSA, Business Unity South Africa, that has companies like Agri-SA, HAI, you know, and the Chamber of Mines and so on and so on. I was the boss of over 150 of those business organizations in the world, right? But also with the ILO. Now, why am I giving you this background? I'm giving you this background because it is this background and this knowledge that made me put together a concept called the Tuja Parallel Universe Ecosystem that is based on 8 sectors of the economy, 8 sectors of the economy. And those 8 sectors of the economy are built purely to create employment, purely to ensure there is sustainable jobs, purely to ensure there's sustainable enterprises. And why? Because I'm a labor expert. I'm one of the foremost labor experts in the world, not only in South Africa. But I made a choice to come back to South Africa and do this in South Africa. I will be doing it in other countries, but I wanted to do it at home first, right? And if you as a South African know that there's over 700,000 unemployed people on the database of the Unemployment Insurance Fund, over 700,000. These are people who've worked but are not employed as we speak, 80% of whom are on unemployment benefits. So it was built in such a way as to create employment, but recruit from that database of the UIF. Why? To save the UIF from having to pay monies to people that are unemployed and save its money, but also to make sure that going forward, it has a lot of contributors to itself, because that's how the UIF works. No money coming in, no money for a rainy day. Now, the irony, again, this is an irony. I'm a Bantu education product, Isaac, me. Okay? I'm a product of the schools that a guy called Verwoerd said, you can't go anywhere, don't look beyond your into the green pastures because you can't graze. But I raised this for a very good reason why I mention it to you like this, okay? Because this UIF was born in the other side of 1994, before 1994. Okay, so the monies that we're able to use, over 64 billion during the COVID, were an idea that came from the other side of 94, not this side of 94, not the liberated side of 94. The liberated side of 94 was supposed to build on it, make it bigger, make it stronger. Okay, yes, people can complain about how infrastructure was built only for white people pre-94. That's why it was so good. But okay, so it's good, it's there. Why have you not, for 30 years, found a way then to use that very good basis, that very good platform to build from and make it good for everybody else? Biki, start till you get it right? So by the same token with my project was built to safeguard and to ensure the sustainability of the UIF, and everybody in the UIF, the commissioner of the UIF loved the idea, which is why he recommended it for approval to the DG. The DG loved it, which is why he agreed to approve it and why he agreed to sign the agreement. And after all, he's the accounting officer. When things have followed a process for 4 years, okay, maybe less because there was the COVID in between. But the fact of the matter is it took 4 years, right? So I don't know what else people would say when they say it's a get-rich-quick scheme. But also, it is also equally important, Baya Belangrek, to take note of the fact that it was built to be seed capital. The 5 billion might sound like a lot of money, but actually it's not a lot of money when you have a country like ours that has so many problems. And if you look at the 5 billion that the IDC also has from the UIF, I don't know if you're aware, the IDC also has 5 billion from the UIF. But for 5 billion, they can only create 14,800 jobs. 14,800 jobs. Because they charge 350,000 per job. But with my 5 billion, two projects I have in KZN, I'm able to create 30,000 jobs for 300 million rand. My contribution is 300 million into those projects, and I create 30,000 jobs.
But then they came and say, then something went wrong between you and Thulas. I want to talk about that. But then they come and say, oh, wait a moment. This guy have no premises, there's no website, there's no track record. Is that true?
Yeah, well, it was true at the time, but let me tell you again, it's quite simple. So you remember I said to you, I'm the Tuja Holding CEO, and everybody's been struggling about Tuja Capital CEO. And I say to them, no, Vahabiki now. Let me explain how this works. So the whole concept was built for the UIF. The whole concept was built for the Department of Employment and Labor to respond to a call for proposals that were there at the time. Now, when you create a special vehicle for something, why would you want to have a website and a company for something that might or might not happen? Why would I want to do that? Why would I waste my money and go set up things? I have the credentials. I am a labor expert. I have built businesses. I have made money. I have the credibility, and I can set something up specifically. If the UIF says, no, there's nothing we want to talk to you about, then I must now do what? Go and destroy that website? go now and say, no, sorry, I rented the offices and I've paid money already, but I want to cancel my contract. That's not how business is done. Business is not done like that. So we registered in 2019 Thuja Capital, but in 2022, we registered Thuja Holdings because it's always been meant to be the holding company. Thuja Capital is only for the financial section out of 8 sectors. Remember, there's 8 sectors. So Thuja Capital works for the financial sector, and then we would have Thuja Health, Thuja Aqua Health, Aquaculture, Thuja Agriculture, Thuja Telecoms, and so on to fit all the 8 sectors, right? That's how it works. And people have also asked me, why did you have an invoice? It wasn't even an invoice. It was a pro forma invoice that doesn't have VAT. It is against the law to charge VAT when you're not registered for VAT. And you don't charge VAT till you've made money. First make the money. First say, okay, I've exceeded the amount. Now I'm registering for VAT. I mean, otherwise, and these are people clearly who've never run a business. I've run businesses. I know how to run businesses. And for me, the thing that upsets me the most is that everywhere all over the world, Isaac, people think South Africans are the best thing after cow's milk. We're the only people who don't believe in each other. We want things that come from somewhere else. I addressed Agri-SA about 6-7 weeks ago. I was one of the keynote speakers for Agri-SA for all the farmers in the country at Emperor's Palace. You know, I spoke for 17 minutes there, and then they questioned me for about 10 minutes, and they understood this concept. In 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes, they understood what I was talking about. They even asked me if I could help draft their master plan for agriculture, because they mentioned that, number one, they employ about 870,000 people, right? Remember, I'm also going to do agriculture as well in my ecosystem. They employ 870,000 people. They believe they could employ a lot more if the government would be quicker in doing things that the government is not doing. For example, they say they are the third highest adopters of technology in the world, the South African farmers, right? But they say that it takes 36 months, 3 years, 36 months for our government to approve any product that they can use for technology in the country, 36 months. And when they have to export new products, they say it takes 6 to 11 months delay more than anybody else for us to get approval to export those products. And all those things, if they were to happen, we could be easily number one, as we could be easily number one for anything we want as South Africans, because we're an amazing people, right? But the problem we have is that we don't believe in each other. We have no confidence in each other. We don't trust each other. We accuse each other, and we find ways to be as divisive as we can, in spite of the Springboks having displayed to us that the only way you can do things is to work together, is to collaborate, is to be competent, is to understand that there's always somebody smarter than you or better than you, but you're all part of the same team. It's as simple as all that.
If you follow the tracks of this deal, and you follow your tracks in South Africa, there was once a time that you were quite in favor with the current government and the senior officials in the government, and the deal was, there was a positive vibe about the deal, but then Thulas Nxesi decided to pull the plug. Which makes me wonder what happened. What went sour between you, that he even threatened to take you off as head of productivity SA.
So Isaac, I've never been friends with anybody in government. I think that information is incorrect. So the only thing I've agreed to do in the last few years, I mean, I left South Africa in 2009.
No, but there was a good vibe between you. They helped you in.
Yeah, but let me explain. So there was another minister before Thulas Nxesi called Mildred Oliphant.
Yeah.
She was the Minister of Labor. Thulas Nxesi came in after President Ramaphosa changed the name to Department of Employment and Labor, and then became the Minister of Employment and Labor. So Mildred Oliphant and her deputy minister Holomisa were the ones who asked me to be the chair of Productivity SA. They were also the ones who asked me to be the leader of the ILO. When I was lobbying for DG of the ILO, was because they lobbied me for 2 years to agree to this until I agreed. They also were the people, Minister Oliphant, who when I shared this idea, she thought it was an amazing idea, right? Thulas Nxesi comes in 2019, and for some strange reason, reappoints me as the chair of Productivity SA. And then he goes around telling everybody, every opportunity he has, that he used to buy leather jackets from me when I was a student. Nah. And he threw me off because I thought, oh, okay, then maybe he and I get along. But actually, I discover that was just to throw people's scent. It was a red herring. He's never really liked me. But in the middle of me being chair of Productivity SA, about May, if you look at my tweets, I tweeted over the weekend. On May 2021 is the last time he spoke to me on WhatsApp, because he had refused to sign the annual performance plan for Productivity SA because he said I was condemning the South African government. I said, what do you mean I'm condemning the South African government? He says, no, my forward in the annual report condemns his government. I said, no, but this is my government too. This is my country. And I think that's where the friendship, if there was any, ended, because I said to him, if you don't sign the APP, I'm going to force you to sign the APP. Apparently, his people told him that I have the power to force him to sign the APP. After that, he started attacking me forever, as he's been attacking me now. And so I've never really been friends with politicians. But even with the contract itself, I was dealing with office bearers. I was dealing with the people who should be doing the work. You know, if we were a country that has no interference from politicians, I should not be dealing with a minister at all for my project. I should be dealing just with the DG. The DG is the accounting officer. The commissioner of the UIF is the accounting officer. Why are we dealing with ministers? Ministers should have nothing to do with projects.
Talking about that, are you standing on your on what you said the past week about Mbalula, Nxesi, Godongwana, and Nzimande?
Isaac, what would change my mind, do you think? I don't think so. I've said these things and I stand by them. I shall not apologize. I shall not retract. I will defend. I will fight. I will do what I have to do. But more importantly, I will get my contract. That contract is valid and no one is going to take it away from me by coming up with games, okay? And no one is receiving 1 cent other than the people that the project is meant for. No one is receiving 1 cent.
So you're going to fight for this contract?
To the end, my dear friend. To the end.
Even with threatening legal action against you?
To the end. And I'm beefing up security for me because I'm told now somebody's going to want to take me out and whatever, which is complete rubbish, that now I must live in fear. I mean, what kind of a democracy is this? You know, now we are like countries that used to have mafia and drugs and things that you hear about in other parts of the world, because you can't speak the truth. You must fear for yourself, fear for your family. And I'm telling you why my determination to fight is also demonstrated by the fact that I've looked at my resources and I'm thinking, I'm now fighting 3 ministers and a secretary general of the ANC. I can't have enough money to fight this on my own. That's why I'm also starting this Mdwaba anti-corruption fund, so that I've got some assistance with my legal, my PR, my whatever, and my security, because you know what? I need to be safe to get to court safely, right? So I'm going to do what I have to do between now to make money through other means in other countries, because I can't make money here. I'm sure now everybody will be scared to work with me, but I'm going to fight till the end.
So you are beefing up your security as well, you say?
Well, Isaac, my mother prays for me 4 or 5 times, phones me 4 or 5 times a day. My daughter, who lives in the UK, was calling me crying that, you know, she hears that I say I don't mind dying for this if I have to die. I can't leave my house without having people go with me. If I go, I have to use different routes to the gym. I have to use different cars to go to the places I go to. And mainly, I've got a keynote address to make tomorrow to the NRF in Pretoria. I can't. I'm going to have to do it on Zoom. There's no way I'm going to Pretoria. I don't think I'll come back. I'm told.
Well,
people tell me.
I don't shoot down your fears, because if you see what's happening in South Africa at the moment. It's a big reality. So you maintain that these ministers, and by name, have been, they made corrupt. What is the English word? Ek in my Vrystaat Engels. Jong. Hulle het onbehoorlike voorstelle aan jou gemaak, korrupte voorstelle.
Hulle het onbehoorlike voorstelle gemaak. And it's the last time they are making any onbehoorlike anything going forward, if I have anything to do with it. I'm sick and tired of this nonsense, and when I see the letters, when I see the people on X, on Twitter, the thousands of people that have supported me, the people on LinkedIn, I know that people, people have been waiting for this. I didn't know, of course. I didn't know. When I did what I did, I didn't know. It's only now that I realized, my God, the whole of South Africa just about is grateful. Everybody's relieved. Everybody's scared for my life. The messages are either about inspiration, asking for me to mentor them, asking for me to be strong, or fearing for my life. It's those four things. The letters I'm getting. Okay, that's it. Nobody says, no, don't do it. Everybody says, oops, shucks, we wish we could be like you. We wish we were as brave as you, but oh, please be safe. Oh, please be safe. Apparently, 2 guys were going to Randburg, I think a few days ago, to give evidence against the police. They died. They never made it to the court. They were shot and killed. This morning, the lady on the program I was on ENCA, she ran a poll. She did a poll. Would you report to the police something like this and whatever? The poll said never, not a chance, never. Don't never report, because you can't trust what's going to happen to you. Now, we can't live like that, Isaac. There is no way.
I want to ask you a stupid question, in the sense that, but let me ask it. I want to do it for a specific purpose. Let's put it on the record. You sitting in front of me, showing fingers to senior ministers. All South Africans are tired of that, and it's not that we don't believe you. But can you say, with all honesty, that the transaction you went into with government, the UIF department, is not a corrupt one, and totally honest and above board?
Isaac, I've done some bad things in my life. I probably have too many girlfriends than I should have in the past. I've probably maybe had one more glass of wine than I should have had in the past, even though I don't drink that much. I've probably, I don't know, maybe not told the truth to my mother, which I should have done all the time, or my father, my late father, and I hope they forgive me for that. But I was in the Kroonstad one day. I go through the Kroonstad a lot because soos ek het gesê, ek is oorspronklik van Eshel naby Aliwal Noord. And I was with my kids. I've done this for 30 years. Go home with my kids. My daughter flies through from the UK. We all drive. And I was caught for driving fast in Kroonstad. I had to park my car for 4.5 hours next to the police station because they expected me to pay a bribe. My family was phoning me and saying to me, please, man, betal net, just pay, just pay the thing and get out of there. I said, Nia, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay. Because all of us complain about corruption, but we are ready to give a traffic cop a little something. For what? He's doing his job. I exceeded the speed limit. I endangered the people in my car, and I endangered the people that were driving on the road. I need to be punished for it. And I must pay my penance for it. Right? Now, why would I refuse to pay a little traffic bribe that everybody, I'm told now, thinks is standard? You just give a cool drink to the guys and then go pay it for this. Why? Why would I have a corrupt deal to do stuff? I've had a, I mentioned as well this morning in the interview There was a time in my life when I built Talk IT, the company that I say was in 27 countries, where I told my salespeople, they hated me. I thought they were going to kill me. I said, we're not going to do any business with government. This was 2003, 2004, thereabout 2005. Because every time we responded to a tender and we won, they would call me for a meeting and want me to go and sit with them and talk nonsense. I said, but what am I talking about? I won. Why are we still talking? Yeah, because, you know, things are not done like this. They opened it and closed it 3 times, I think, this tender. Eventually, I said, you know what? I guess that's genoeg no. I'm not going to do this anymore, right? Now, I have no reason to do that. I have no reason. I believe and am confident of my skills and my talent, and I believe we have a lot of talented, skilled South Africans. The whole world thinks we're great people, South Africans, but we, instead of fixing our country, instead of getting people jobs, 700,000 jobs I want to build, 700,000 jobs, and countries outside South Africa want to match my money, right? This is money coming to South Africa.
Yes.
Yeah, I answer you now. There's never a stupid question, but I want to answer you again categorically. Everything done for Tuja is above board, Isaac. Very, very above board.
Professor Mdwaba, thank you very much, Mthunzi, for making time for me. I appreciate it very much.
That es my plezier, Isaac.
Keep well.
Jy luister na Isak Du Plessis op Nuuspod.